What's up, everybody? I'm Derek Gamer. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're back with Monster Hunter World Iceborne. This is something that the community has asked me to make for a long time. I'm noticing a lot of my videos, there's a lot of new players, a lot of people coming back to the game. There are a lot of people enjoying it, and what we want to do is make the hub where all guides and tips can come together. But also, this is going to be a living video. Comment below your tips if I didn't add them in there as well. We are going to have a lot of tips, and to support that, we're going to have timestamps below so you guys don't sort through the video as far as like things that are relevant to you, things you didn't know. Some of them are going to come from me, some are going to come from the community. I made a post on my YouTube page asking the community what are some tips they had. I added a lot of those to what I'm going to talk about. My family. Without further ado, let's dive in. Ooh, so before we get into it, one thing that I want to make sure everybody knows when they're playing Monster Hunter is the number one thing is have fun, have a good time. Don't rush to be super sweaty, don't rush to chase all the meta gear. All that stuff will come in time. Take the game at your pace. So to start off with, a lot of people are gonna start in world, start in Monster Hunter World. Number one tip I'm gonna give you guys is slow down, play through the story, enjoy the cutscenes, enjoy the experience, because there's nothing to rush to. The content's there. You're not gonna miss out on anything. So a lot of people, what they do is they rush through and they rob themselves of the experience and they get burnt out. They're like, man, I didn't really have that good of a time because you rushed through it. Slow down, have fun. So we'll start with world. First thing I want to talk about is enjoying yourself playing the game there. Second thing I want to say is there is a defender set in the game, and what it does is it allows you to essentially go through the game and world with stronger gear that you should have, which makes the battles a lot easier than they need to be. So don't do that. Slow down, play the game as intended, play the game with the equipment that you find, and have a better experience that way. And also too, you'll be stronger, your items be your gear be a higher level, you'll have items, you have everything set up in the base game that allows you to take charge in Iceborne, because the difficulty from world to Iceborne does kick up. Monsters hit stronger, they have more health, they're more aggressive, they're agitated more, so you want to make sure you're prepared when you're going into the game. So with that being said, I'm gonna take it that everybody here spent their time, they had a good time world, now they're in Iceborne. They're okay, cool, DG, tell me all about this action. So first thing we're gonna go over is the weapons. In Monster Hunter, there's 14 different weapons. All the weapons are all unique, and the cool thing about the weapons are it allows the game to feel like a brand new game when you're playing it, because when you pick up a new weapon, for instance a longsword, I main longsword, when you pick up the weapon, it's all about learning the moveset, the combos, the cancels, the timings, the counters, all the things that make that weapon fun. What builds go with this weapon? What armor goes with this weapon? What bosses am I gonna have a hard time with the weapon? Which monsters am I gonna have a good time with the weapon? What is the monsters? What attributes make it even better? And how do I focus on my mastery of the weapon, my timing of the monsters, my spacing? All of those things encompass a full game experience. So this is a longsword. This is my main weapon. My second main weapon I use is the greatsword. Now the greatsword is an amazing weapon because it's a slower weapon, but it hits heavy. And for me, one thing I like doing a lot on my channel is I like doing DPS builds. Like, how do I just do as much damage as possible? And that's where the greatsword really shines, because it's really all about doing massive damage all the time. It's versatile. It's interesting because even though it's a slower weapon, it's versatile. This counter goes through attacks. It gives you iframes so you can dodge right to an enemy's attack, and also too allows you to do the big hits like that as well. So greatsword is an amazing weapon if you like doing big damage, big numbers, and also too if you want to just work on your precision. As far as like difficulty level, I'll put this one pretty high up because you have to get your timing just right, because you don't have that many opportunities to strike that monster, but also too you want to make sure you get out of the way as soon as you can so you don't get hit by nobody. And just to go through some of the other weapons as well, there's the bow. There's a bow weapon. There's dual blades. There's light bow gun, heavy bow gun. There's charge blade. A charge blade is cool because it literally transforms right in front of you, and there's multiple ways you can play the weapon. I'll pull one on so you can see. This will be my third main weapon that I kind of play with. Yes, I was saying there's greatsword, there's longsword, sword and shield, dual blades, hammer, hunting horn, lance, gun lance, switch axe, sharp blade, insect glide, light bow gun, heavy bow gun, and bow. There's different weapons from people that love first-person shooters. You want to try the bow, the heavy bow gun, light bow gun. If you like melee up close and personal, you'll like sword and shield, longsword, greatsword, dual blades, hammer. If you like doing essentially buffing your party, you want to play a support character, you can play hunting horn. And also too, within these builds as well, you can play different kind of loadouts that allow you to play a little bit of both. You can build your character to how you truly want. So for now, I'm gonna show you guys a Charge Blade really quick. Charge Blade is an amazing weapon. It always makes you think about like Link from Zelda. You have a sword and shield, but the cool thing about it is you can charge it. It does big damage. It's probably one of the most technical weapons in the game because it allows you to transform in multiple ways and it does big damage. Absolutely beautiful. So for also too, when you get a little guard point too, there's counters built into the weapon. And for me, one thing I truly love, I love when weapons have built-in counters. So like it has like tight windows where a monster does something, it allows you to counter it and get like that super buff damage on it. So there's lots of weapons for you to try and dive into. Also too, there's tutorials I kind of walk you through some of the things that allow you to kind of pick the one that's right for you. So the most important thing when playing this game is identifying what weapon works for you. And I'll take you guys on my journey. If you guys go through my channel, look at my very first video, I started off with a dual sword, and I liked dual sword because one, it was fun, it was cool, but at the same time I was like, I don't know, this weapon feels good, but I was like, I don't know if this was the one for me. So I went to dual sword, dual blades, then I went to switch axe, and I tried longsword, and I tried greatsword, and I went to charge blade, I went back to longsword, and I finally settled on longsword because I truly love how it feels like a dance. And don't worry, there's no best weapon in the game. All the weapons are viable. You can beat every single boss, from the weakest one to Fatalis, the strongest monsters. You can beat them all with any weapon in the game. It just takes a little bit of time to practice and know how you're gonna essentially do that with your skills, your skill level, and the skills you got equipped on your character as well. So take your time, go through, and realize you're not gonna figure out the weapon that works for you right away. It takes some time. Do like 20 hunts, do like 5-10 hunts, get a real feel for it. And the one thing that makes this game really good is this game is really strong and popular because of YouTube. YouTube allows you to learn things because sometimes you're playing and wait a minute, I don't know if I'm optimizing my playstyle as much as possible as I can. So there's lots of videos that gives you tips on how to play the character, how to play the weapon. So for me, I got on my channel, I got a lot of longsword guys as far as like how to play them, how to optimize it. So check those out as well. But spend some time looking at some guys playing it, watch some speed runs, because speed runs are the best way to kind of look at what is the highest skill level of this weapon, and like you could learn some tips and tricks from it as well. So it's just like when you're playing sports. It's one thing to play, but also another thing you want to watch it so you can get familiar with it as well. So you spend a lot of your time playing Monster Hunter. You spend a lot of time fighting monsters, and the goal is, how do you get stronger? How do you make your gear even better? And that's where we come to the weapons. There's a ton of weapons in the game. All the monsters that you fight, you're gonna be able to make different weapons based on what parts they give you. So on the left hand side, this is defender stuff. Remember I told you stay away from the defender stuff. It makes the base game too easy if you're playing in the world. If you use this stuff in Iceborne, then the game balances out. You're not just going through the game just destroying everything. So in the game, we're gonna talk about this a little later on. There's components that you need in order to make the weapon. So one, you're gonna be able to farm some gear, farm some items like pick up rocks, pick up stones, pick up plants. And another part is going to be a lot of the parts you're going to need to make your gear. You're going to need it by fighting the monster. So if you go into your weapon tree here, it tells you, oh, these are all the monsters I'm going to be able to fight that make this specific weapon. Some weapons are not available per monster, but for the most part, a lot of them are through all the different characters, all the different weapon types. So if you look down here, if I wanted to make this weapon, I will start this tree here, upgrade, 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 upgrade. And when I get this monster, I'll mix these two materials with this one, and I'll allow me to transform. I can't see what it is now because I got to make this one first, but essentially what happens is in order to make a lot of the gear, you got to fight the monsters. You fight the monsters, they drop the parts, you're able to get the gear and make the weapon. Then you can upgrade the weapon. So as you can see, as you get further in the game, you unlock different levels, allow you to upgrade the weapon even more. And this is where you're gonna spend a lot of your time making your weapon. After you make your weapon, what else there to do? You want to look on the right hand side, look at the stats, say what is important to you, and that's where you really want to kind of go with those optimized videos for your weapon type, so you can look at what's important to my build, what do I care about, why does it matter to me, and how can I optimize my playstyle. For a quick demonstration, so I'm playing Longsword and I'm looking at this weapon. So weapons have different rarity as well. This one's the rarity 12, so it's the strongest one currently. But you can look at how much attack does it do. Sharpness, how many times do I hit before it starts decreasing in sharpness? With each level of sharpness, there's a buff to your attack, with purple being the highest, then white, then blue, then yellow, then green, then yellow, then red. You never want to get in red, but when you start the game earlier on, you might be in red, and that's okay. As you start to level up more and more and more, get better gear, you get into the higher tier weapons, which allow you to do more damage. Affinity, what does affinity mean? Affinity is the holy grail of fighting when you're using melee weapons. It's your critical, your chance to crit on each hit. So what this weapon is telling me, gives me a natural 20% affinity. So what that means is if I hit a monster in my one strike, there's a 20% chance that attack could be a crit. And what you want to do is you want to really focus on crit, because that's where you get most of your damage. And base game attack is important. In Iceborne late game, critical is where you want to spend a lot of your time to get a majority of your damage. Element, fire element. Some weapons, monsters have weaknesses, and I'll kind of show you this really quick. Your hunter notes are going to be your best friend. It tells you a lot of information about the monster you're fighting. And it says as you fight more monsters, you get more information about them. As you get more information, it tells you things that are very, very important. It tells you monsters have different weak points. So if you guys didn't know this, spend your time here. It tells you, oh, which part's breakable, which weapon is this monster's weak point. So I know on the head, Greatsword is going to do big damage on, and hammer as well. On the right hand side, it tells me an element. Which one is it the most strong against? Which one I'll get the most damage with? See, 3 stars of fire, mean I'll do good damage there. And water is not weak against water at all. So the higher the stars, the more damage you're going to be doing. So as you fight your monsters, you start to memorize them. And that's when we start talking later on when we get into combat, is memorizing your monster's weak points and memorizing what kind of attacks they do, so you can dodge, get out of the way, and exploit those weaknesses. Just spoiler alert, head and tail is going to be a lot of the time a weak spot for them. Most times legs, wings, but majority of the time head and tail is going to be a weak spot for a lot of monsters when using slashing types. So within that, there's different type of attacks. There's a slashing type, there's a blunt. So slashing is going to be like any kind of slashing weapon like Longsword and the dual blades, those are slashing types. Blunt weapons are going to be like the hammer. It breaks the parts easier. So essentially you're not going to cut off a tail with a hammer, but you can cut it off with a Longsword because it's a slashing type, meaning it'll slash it off. Versus a head, you'll break the hard head a lot easier with a blunt weapon. And that's why a lot of times people are like, oh, if you play Longsword, make sure you focus on the tail, cut those tails off, then you can start, as the parts start breaking, then you can hit anywhere else. But you will show you in a second what it looks like when you get a good hit on an enemy and versus a bad hit on an enemy. But this is just a little quick overview of all the different monsters. These guides are here available for you to literally go through and learn and identify what I get, what the monster is, how many you killed them. Also too, it tells you what rewards you're gonna get. Remember the last screen, I'm looking for a weapon I want to make and I don't know where to get the parts. I was like, cool, I just come over here. It tells you exactly what parts are most likely to drop what, and it tells you what to do. He said, hey, if you carve it versus killing it, you get, versus capturing, you get different rewards. So it breaks down everything you know in here. So spend some time kind of going through this. But going back to the demonstration, that's what Affinity does. That's an element. There's the monsters have different elements, so depending on the monster you're fighting, some people like matching the element of the weakness in the monster to that monster, which is optimal. You'll do a lot of damage, but what happens is you're gonna have to make a lot of different sets, or just have a specific set for these type of monsters. Monsters that are weak to poison, I'll use this weapon. Monsters that are weak to fire, I'll use these weapons. So how do you gain that knowledge? Is by one, fighting them, but also looking at your hunter's notes that tells you exactly what the monster weaknesses are, so you can exploit that. The next slot is what you're gonna open up is slots. So what are slots? Slots is where you put your juicy decorations in. And what are decorations? Decorations are what is going to allow you to make your character customized. Before we get to decorations, let's go ahead and go into armor. Then we'll go into decoration and talk about that as well. So armor parts, armor parts, armor parts. There's a lot to take in armor parts, and it's absolutely amazing. So armor, you can make 5 different pieces of armor: the head, the chest, the arm, the legs, the waist and the legs. And what's specific about here is one, on the right hand side tells you how much defense it gives you. It tells you the slottage, and that's the most important thing. Slottage means how many decoration slots I can put inside of a weapon, an armor piece, and which allows me to customize my character and make it stronger. So if you notice, there's A, B, A, B, A, B. What it alpha actually is alpha, beta, alpha, beta, alpha, beta. There's 2 parts to every monster set. Alpha set is gonna have more skills on it, as you can see, and it's gonna have less slottage, while the beta is gonna have a lot more slots available to you, but it's gonna have less skills. So why would I do either or? If I have a lot of decorations, I would use the beta because I could customize it to build it wherever I want, because I need those slots. If I don't have that many decorations I need, then I'll look for something, a set that has the skill I'm looking for. Like I want health boost 1 and attack boost, but I don't have any attack jewels or health or vitality jewels. I will use this set. So it's okay to mix and match. Some people like doing the whole fashion thing and making sure they only wear one set. And don't worry, there's a way to get around that later on in case you want to have a full set like this, which is layered armor. We'll talk about it in a second, but don't worry about mix and matching your character, because that's where the fun comes in. I got a layer set on right now, so you can't see what I'm actually wearing, but I want to make my character look a specific way because fashion is life, so you can customize it that way. So go ahead and mix and match all of your sets, because that's where the game truly shines. And there's lots of skills you can learn. Set bonuses. A lot of weapons, a lot of armor pieces have set bonuses, and it tells you, hey, if you equip 2 pieces of this armor, you get this. If you put 4 pieces of this armor, you get that. So spend some time in there and see, oh, cool. If I play, is this set that important to me that I want to wear 2 pieces of it because I get this set bonus? And then you can identify what makes sense for you and your build. We talked about layered armor for a second. Essentially, layered armor is you be able to put any piece of armor on top of whatever you're wearing, regardless of what effects it has, because that's the goal. You want to look a specific way. This is a layered armor set I got on right now. I got the buff body, I got these pants right now, and I got the glasses, and I got the wrist from this pants, from this set, because I want my character to look cool and just look badass. So that's the way, as you get later into the game, you unlock things like this to customize your experience. Decorations, decorations, decorations. I love decorations because this is where a lot of the replay value comes in the game. You're able to customize and build your sets. And just, how do you get decorations? You get them by farming, by defeating monsters, going to investigations, and they drop them. What you want to get decoration, because it customizes your playstyle. They all have different attributes, different things that they do, which makes it fun for you based on what you're going for. If I want to have a dragon build, I could put dragon jewel on my attack, on my armor, and give me additional dragon attack and dragon bonuses. So based on what you're going after, this is ultimately too what I was talking about earlier. There's a lot of decorations, a ton of them. Which ones make sense for the build that I'm running? And that's where I started this whole guide with weapon, because the weapon is going to identify what your playstyle is going to be. That playstyle is going to identify what armor you need to have on, and that armor is going to, the weapon and armor is going to identify what kind of decorations you want to put on your set to bring everything together. And that's the goal. Once you get your character, you get your weapon, you get your armor, you get the decorations, and trust me, you're not going to have everything you want at once, but that's the flow you want to go through in order for you to really start maximizing your playstyle, increasing your survivability, increase how much damage you're doing, and sometimes ultimately your fun. And don't worry, you're gonna die a lot. If anybody told you the game is too easy, they didn't die, they lied to you, they died. It's just a matter of like how much faster did they pick up on their mistakes, and that's what this game's all about. Think about this game in a sense like Dark Souls. You make mistakes and you learn from it, and that's how you continue to improve in the game. So decorations, to wrap it up, is I'll talk about farming decorations later. I got another video for that as well. But what you want to do is just spend some time identifying what you have in your inventory, because sometimes you don't have any of these things you're looking for. I've spent 1,700 hours in the game, so I have a lot of decorations. I spend a lot of my time farming too, because I just love farming, because one, I'm getting decorations, two, I'm getting better at predicting the monster's attacks, and three, I'm just having a good old time. So spend some time in here as well. Before we leave, loadouts are important. So loadouts, you can have different loadouts for your character based on, remember I talked about like raw damage versus like elemental damage, which one's more important to you? Say I have a set I want to run, I'm about to go fight a Latrion. I know I have my ice, depending on what mode is in, I have my ice weapon to combat the fire combat ice. There's different loadouts you can have. You can have up to 222 pages. I got like a good amount of pages set up with different sets. The ones I truly use, I renamed them, so you can rename them as well. You can save out your loadout. You can save your layered armor as well. That way you know what sets you want to rock when you're playing out there. So really just have a good time with customizing them. And also too, it saves your spot. So all the decorations you put on it, they all saves it as well. So it just pulls all the decoration off another armor piece and put it on this one. So it saves you some time and efficiency. So when you make a build for a specific weapon, save it so that you can return to it later and just continue on whatever you're working on. Lastly, I touched about it, but I didn't give you my perspective on it. Raw damage versus elemental damage. Elemental is going to be, depending on the monster you're fighting against, it's going to be more efficient and stronger. But sometimes I just like raw damage. I like to be able to have one set that's super strong I can just fight any monster with. And that's why a lot of my builds are going to be focused on just like raw damage. There's a couple of like elemental guys in there, but a majority of my builds are going to be raw damage because I want to be able to take my set and fight any monster coming at me. Next thing I want to talk about is items. Which items should you have in your inventory? Which ones should you not? So same thing over here as well as loadouts. So different loadouts you have based on what monster you're fighting and what elements you're using. You can customize it as well. So spend some time customizing your loadouts. But for me, one thing I always use is I take out potions out of my set because they don't do that much healing. Ultimately, what you want to do is kind of the way I have it set up here, which is really good because one, max potion is all about survivability. When you're healing, a regular potion heals a certain amount. Mega heals even more. Max potion is going to heal you all the way. So what you want to do is how often can I use my max potions? So you can only carry 2 max potions at a time. But what's amazing in this game, you can craft. You can craft them different potions and different items all the time with you. But you don't have to you don't just only craft out of battle. You can literally craft in the middle of your battle. And I'll showcase that when I get to the combat section of the guide. But what's important is if you put the items that will take to combine to make that item, you will automatically make it in battle. So for instance, in order for it to make a max potion, you need mega nutrients and magnagora. So what did I do? I went and put mega nutrients in my here, and I have some mag in there as well. So when I'm on the battle, not only do I have 2 of these, let me craft one more. Not only do I have 2 of these, I can literally have 2 plus the 5. I can have 7 of them in the middle of a battle, which will allow me to heal, get myself back to where I need to be so I can continue fighting instead of walking around waiting for the heal. Because in Monster Hunter World and Iceborne, the healing is a little bit slow. The good thing is you can walk around, and they got rid of the flex animation. But that's what you want to do. Other things you want to have in here is well done state, because that increases your stamina all the way, maxes it out. Cool drink, because you're going to go into a frost, a flame area. You want to make sure you're not losing health. Hot drink is important because you want to go, when you go into the ice areas, you want to make sure you're not freezing to death. So it's going to stop you from being able to fight. Next, I have a mega nutrients. I told you why I have that for my max potions. Jerky, based on the fight. If you get bleed damage, you want to have that. Your buffs. It's okay to use buffs. Buff yourself if you need to. There's different buffs in the game. So I have these. These are heals. Human powder. I like to use my buffs as well. Tranquilizer, because sometimes you want to capture. If you capture, you get more materials when you're fighting the monster versus slaying it. Also, sometimes you get different materials when you capture versus slay, so it's good to have it in there. The second you can have Farcaster, put it in your set because one, it will save you if you get collab. Two, if you need to restock your inventory, it's great because it takes you back to the camp so you can load your stuff up. So very, very, very beneficial to have it in your set. And by all means, you don't have to put these things in your inventory, but these are just things that I like to have, and it's made my playthrough a lot smoother as well. Mega barrel, whenever you're fighting, the monster goes to sleep. When you're playing multiplayer, it's just a thing everybody does. You just put your 2 bombs out. Everybody puts their 2 bombs out. You hit the monster, wake it up, big damage. The monster faints, and you keep on doing it until you kill the monster. Pitfall trap. That's how you trap the monster. Some monsters like Rajan can only be a pitfall trap, and you can't use shock trap on it because you can kind of walk out of it. To have the 2 traps in there as well. Power charm, power Talon are great because just by having these in your inventory increases your power by default, and you can make these pretty earlier on in the base game. Then same thing, armor, increase your armor defense just by having it. And Dust of Life, bring Dust of Life because what it does is it makes you a good human being. If you're playing multiplayer and someone's getting clapped and they're dying, use this to heal everybody. And there's different builds you can make to, if you want to play support, and whenever you heal yourself, you heal the whole party. But say you're playing DPS and you just want to make sure you got your friends back while you're playing, bring Dust of Life in there as well. Down here, there's different armor pieces based on what weapon you're using, armor coding you want to have. You can customize all of these, and this is where I talk about. Keep referring to this. There's tons of guys on YouTube for your specific weapon, so watch some of those to get familiar with how they have their loadouts. This is kind of like a general melee, like a safe bet that'll keep you alive. So use this one. I'd also improve on it as well, make it your own. Customizing Radical Wheel. This has to be one of the most important things you should do. One, whetstone. If you have a weapon that sharpens and loses against dull, you want to have a whetstone on there. I have my Farcaster on there, so in case I get in trouble, I could dip out. Mega potions, I can heal on the go. My max potions, I can heal myself. No berry, that way I get any kind of status, I can get rid of it right away. I have my 2 mantles on here as well. And I have my Dust of Life in case my parties are in trouble. I can save them by healing. Then there's other things you can customize as well. For me, I just use this one. This is the one I use, but you can customize different commands. So people are, after the fight's done, hey, good job, come on, like you're happy, see you later. There's all kind of things that you can do to make the game fun. So have a bunch of custom ones in there as well. Next, these are my other shortcuts, just like extra you can have as well. And headquarters, this is when you're in a quest, this is when you're not in a quest. You can say, hey, welcome, hey, how you doing? Because sometimes you join a lobby, you want to greet everybody. You do one of these to kind of get everybody to get excited. Next, I want to go over shout outs because the one thing that makes this game fun is the community and playing with other people, just having fun. So shout outs are dope because you can customize them to however you want. These are my auto shout outs. Auto shout outs are what your character automatically says on the left hand side whenever something happens in the game. So when I mount a monster, say I mounted a monster, you set a trap, you can go here and customize them. For me, when I fall down, I say I fall and I can't get up. So no, I'm pinned. When someone helps you out, you say, hey, do you have this strawberry? Whenever someone heals a party, when you faint, you say nani? And the one I like is when someone faints, I say hesitation is defeat, just like in Sekiro, just having fun. When someone hits a monster, awesome. Customize it, make it whatever you want to kind of have a good time playing. Another thing people always ask is, yo, DG, how come I can see your player through the game? So silhouette. So sometimes when your mouse is in front of you and you can't see your character, if you go to silhouette, you can change how easy or hard it is to see. So put it distinct, that way you can have a little image through the monster so you can see yourself as well. These are some of my settings real quick that I have it on fixed. I think I have my view on distant because I want to be able to see as much as possible. So I'll go through here and like customize some of the things. That way it makes it more to you. I have my targeting system to target large monsters only. Sometimes there's little things in the game that walk around and you're like, you don't want to target those because this takes away from your fight. Before we leave items, this guy is very, very important. What you want to do is you want to make sure you increase your levels here by doing quests because it allows you to be able to grow with specific plants. That way you can use them in battle. So as you notice, I have it growing some magna, honey, blue mushroom, and blue mushroom. Why is this important? Because these are the items I need in order for me to continue to make sure I can craft my items. If I'm crafting in battle, I don't have no mega nutrients or stuff to make mega nutrients. I'm not gonna be able to keep myself healthy as much as possible. You can fertilize things. Fertilizing allows you to make a lot more. So I will use this one if I want to get extra blue mushroom and extra magna. So your Palico. My Palico's name is Mr. Whiskers. They help you in battle and do amazing things. You can customize their armor, customize their gears. The most important thing you want to worry about here is one, I like to have a paralysis weapon on my Mr. Whiskers because, believe it or not, he gets like 2 stuns, 1 to 2 stuns a hunt. So that's why I put the paralysis type on him, so it gives me free damage on the monster. Everything else is like not that big of a deal. You can put a helmet on him as well, because when he gets hit in battle, he doesn't die, he comes back. But spend some time. You want to get these. These are all the items that are really, really good. This one brings you back from the hell. There's a bunch of different things you can do that you would unlock later on. So spend some time kind of going through and getting all these different gears, because one, they make the battle a lot different. Some buff you up, some heal you, some give you special stuff in battle, some distract the monsters. So for me, the one I use Orchestra. I like the buff that it gives me. And also too, I would like this one too, because if you die, you faint, you get 1 free health before the faint. So essentially you get like 3-4 feints before it's game over in a hunt. So in order to get these, just do a little search on Google, on YouTube, as far as how to get all the Palico gear, but spend your time doing this because it makes the playthrough a lot more smoother. So next, let's talk about farming. How do you farm? Say you want to farm decoration. What's the best way to do it? The best way to farm decoration is going to be in juicy investigation. So investigations, and what you want to do is you want to look at anything that you have 5 boxes. 5 boxes, threat level 3 is going to be the best of getting your attack 4s, expert 4, all the super good jewels that have like 0.5% chance of dropping. You want to spend your time in here. So one, for me, find a monster you're really good at fighting. And for me, for example, Valkon, I fought that monster so many times. It's a 4-box quest, 2 players. I could use. I typically run solo when I'm farming sometimes. So go in here and it's gonna get 4 decoration drops by guarantee. Then you're gonna get whatever else the monster drops. So the best way to farm decorations is gonna be investigations, because that's the best way to get as many. What you're looking for is 5 boxes, to be honest, and 1 monster. 5 boxes, 3 monsters. Their health is divided, but at the same time, it's still 3 monsters. I'd rather just fight 1 monster and get it in and out. So for me, a lot of times, like for example, this one, I would rather do 1 of these instead versus like 1 of these. Unless you want to fight all the different monsters, run to different areas and blah, yada, yada. Versus this one might take you 12 minutes to do. This one might take you 8 minutes to do, 10 minutes to do. Without this one might take you, who knows, 12 to 17 minutes, 15 minutes. This one could take you 8 to 12 minutes. So which one's faster? As you're grinding, it's more faster, just more efficient. So essentially just find the strongest monster that you can fight, ease monster that gives the most boxes, and go from there. If you have no one to play with, what you can do is you want to go a multiplayer, join quest. Then also what you want to do is put this. You can also respond to SOS, push your preferences here. Investigation, master rank, difficulty. I would put, you want threat level 3, so you want to go here. Rewards, available, language doesn't matter, target doesn't matter, and just search your quest up and see what pops up. At this point, if you see someone with a single monster, threat level 3, 5 boxes, join that quest, because that's a good opportunity for you to get some goods as well. Sometimes you gotta do it over and over because someone's in the quest, they check before you spend some time here, and some will pop up. So that's what farming decoration. Hey, I just need to farm materials. I need to farm. I need rocks. I need ores. I need plants. I need all kinds of things like that. That's where we're gonna use our loadout, our farming set. So what's this farming set important? Why is it good? Because this farming set is good because it has some stuff on it. If you use Geo, always allows you to gather 1 extra time in bone piles, gathering points, and mining crops. So you want to have one of those on there. Also too, makes it so corpse will always be left behind when you're killing something. So when you kill those annoying beetles, make sure they're always left behind. So if my farming set, this is what I got on it as well, to make sure that when I'm out there no one bothers me, I can get as many materials as possible. So if you want, what you want to do is just go on an expedition to a specific area you're looking for. Go to any open point like this, go to expedition, pick where you want to farm, put your gear on, and go running around the town and pick up all the stuff you need to. So that's kind of how you would farm for equipment or minerals. But DG, say you want to increase your master rank level, you want to farm for, and also too, that armor set is really important when you're farming for monsters in the Guiding Lands. I'll show you for a second. But say you don't want to put a full set on, all you gotta do is take off one of these, and I'll take this off. Just by putting one level of geo on your stuff, it allows you to pick up a lot more items. To say you're farming in the Guiding Lands, why do you even go to the Guiding Lands? Guiding Lands is good for farming material in order to augment your gear. You augment your weapon, makes it stronger. Health boost is one you want to use because what it does is it allows you to heal whenever you're attacking a monster, which I'll show you in a second. So we're going to go into the Guiding Lands. So in the Guiding Lands, what we're going to do is you can lure out different monsters. You fight more and more monsters, you can lure them out and get some specific items you're looking for, because some monsters have like certain drops that you were looking for. So what you want to do is continue to play in the Guiding Lands so you can summon those monsters out. So say in the Guiding Lands, why am I here? Because I need to farm my augmentation gear. Augmentation gear is important because it allows me to, one, customize my build a bit more and make my set image stronger. One thing I highly recommend is the rider down here. You can't see him, it's right behind me. Well, let me get rid for a second. You see this down here? The rider? This is very important. Watch a YouTube video how to unlock the riders in every terrain, because it makes it so that you can travel and go through all the different areas quickly instead of you having to run. All you gotta do is summon him up, jump on top, and he takes you right to wherever you need to go. If he stops where you're at, all you gotta do is go on him, push the button, push the right trigger in, and he'll just take me to the monster. So now, why was it important for us to put the geo? Because in Guiding Lands, what you want to do when you slap the monsters against the wall, that's how you get the most materials. And that's the whole point of being there. You need elder gems, you need specific ruiner material. You want to slam into the wall. So there, he's angry. You want to make sure you pick up a rock. If you're using a light weapon, you use a slinger ammo, it'll drop it. So there, he's over here. Hit. He'll hit that right there. Boom, boom. So you see he dropped that. So right here, by having geo, I get to pick it up twice. So that's why it's important when you're farming to make sure you have at least one level on, so you get even more drops when you're fighting out here. Beautiful. And as you see, as you're going through the fight too as well, it drops more and more and more. So that's where you want to pick up all your goods. Keep picking them up and watch it out for it as well. The only thing about is they expire. Sometimes they go away. So you want to make sure that you take some time to pick them up. Also, how do you know when you can smack a monster versus when it's angry? Is if you look on the map, you can see that Nergi has a red. If it's red, that means he's angry. It's aggro. You can't smack him. But if it's green, yellow, then you can. So you want to make sure you pay attention to that. Cool. So that's essentially how you'll farm. You'll fight each monster, farm its pieces, and low rank, high rank, master rank, and Guiding Lands, they all drop different materials, which allows you to make different gear. So since we're here, let's go ahead and transition to combat. Now we're in combat. This is where they spend most of your time. This is the Elder Recess, and pick up everything. I can't pick up anymore because I got a lot of those, but pick up everything you go, because you're gonna need the materials while you're to make your stuff. Anytime you see anything, pick it up, stop and pick it up. So with combat, it's just like we said initially, slow down, take your time, learn the monster moveset. You're gonna faint, you're gonna die, and that's okay. So for me, my item loadout, as you can see, I got my wheel here. It's very important for me to have all that ready to go. The roars, every monster roars. You could roll through them, and sometimes you can counter through them. So for instance, if I hit the foresight, you can counter through it. So that one I missed it, but that's the cool thing about it. You can dodge through them, or you can use earplugs. That way you don't get hit by the roars. It's all about being nice and slow. Slow and steady is gonna be what's gonna support you the most. So a couple of things happen in battle. Based on the weapon you're using, you want to be able to stagger enemy. So for me, I'm using Longsword, so when I jump on a monster and I use my attack like that, pick it up, he drops it. Cool thing about it is since he's yellow, I can swing him around, swing him around, swing him around, and throw him into the wall. If he hits the wall, it does damage like that. He falls over, get a little stagger. If it doesn't, he gets aggro. If he gets aggro, that's when he starts being more aggressive, does more damage, roars more often, all those things. So you can see now he's angry. So now it's red. There's different elements in this game. There's a stagger element. When you see the monster kind of like gasping for air and chilling, looking tired, that's the opportune time to jump on it and wound the body. And in this game, as you can see, how do you know when you're critting? You can tell you're critting because under the damage number, there's gonna be an indicator that shows a little star. If the star is there, that means a critical hit. Also too, if the damage is yellow, that means you're hitting a weak spot. See, that 163 and also had a star under there. That means that one, I crit, and also I hit a good spot on his body. That was also a crit. So essentially what happens is you get yourself trained to only hitting the monster where it's gonna be their weak spot, because that means you're gonna do the most damage. And that's where I talk about slowing down, learning the moveset, learning the monster really comes in handy. So I fought this monster countless times. So I'm very, very familiar with like its moveset and what it can and can't do. And it just takes time to get there. So I broke off some of this layer. Also, so this is what I was talking about. See, it's tired. At this point, we'll clutch onto it, and that's a good opportunity to tenderize the body. If it wasn't aggro at that point, I was turning around and throw it into the wall. Also, so you can break the parts. Then when you break the parts, you do more damage to that part, and also increasing your drops that you get. Use your counters if your weapon has one. Sometimes after a while fighting a monster, it's gonna topple over. And when it topples over, that's some free damage as well. Each different part of the body has a specific threshold. When you hit a certain threshold, it topples over. Let me get out here. Like that. At this point, you get free damage. You just want to capitalize on your damage. Boom. So all our patience. Learn the moveset. See, I want to jump on it. At this point, I don't have no rocks, so I can't spin it around right here, but it's still yellow. So what I can do is I can still jump on the head, turn it around, and get the topple. One, is it gonna hit the rock there? Nope. Two. If you hit it 3 times without throwing to the wall, it automatically gets aggro. So make sure you're careful when you're doing you're testing that out. Now it's going to a different area. A lot of times monsters go to different areas, and they tell you that because the little symbol around your ring gets white, that means the monster's leaving. So also to pick up your monsters drop things in battle, so pick those up because you're gonna need them to make even more gear as well. As the monster starts to get weaker, it goes to different stages. It tells you its current stage on the mini map. If you start to see a skull, that means the monster's close to being dead, which is good. Also too, don't be greedy. Don't be greedy, take your time. A lot of times people get killed because they got greedy and the monster caught them. And it happens to all of us. We all get greedy from time to time. So take your time. Oh. Take your time and let's learn the moveset. So a lot of times the monsters work in patterns. So once second you learn that, it's a lot better to manage. As far as weapon guys, see, like I showed, you see the skull there? that means the monster's almost dead. So as you can see, I didn't have to necessarily, but see, in case I got in trouble, I could just heal and I could just make more by clicking on this if I need to. If I need to go back to camp because things are getting crazy in the middle of battle, I could hit that, heal my party. I could use my mantle as well. And if I get hit by some kind of element, I could use this and heal. I need sharpen. As you can see, my sharpness is now white opposed to purple. So now I will utilize this sharp, get myself back up. So remember I talked about the bombs earlier. So a lot of times, different ways to wake the monster up, but the most traditional way is putting bombs by his head and getting your free damage. If you put enough, you might get a stagger. See, I got a little stagger there. I could jump on it. Oh, I missed it. You could jump on it and tenderize the head to make sure your damage stays high. So what you want to make sure is you're tenderizing. This tenderization happens, stays alive for 6 minutes. So make sure you're taking advantage of that and optimizing that damage. Oh, look at that, I got hit. I'm in trouble. Get out of the way. Make sure you secure yourself first before you heal. I healed up. I'm ready to go. Take advantage of your mounts too, because mounts are free damage. Well, hopefully we can get one. And with mountain, perfect. So with mountain, there's 2 ways to do this. You can kind of brace yourself the way the game teaches you, which isn't that good to be honest. What you want to do is just move off the body. Move off the body part that's hidden. So essentially what you want to do is stay here. The shaking goes to the head's fine. It's going fine here. It tells you when the little meter starts rumbling, that's when you want to move. So move here. And look at that, I barely had any stamina. I was able to secure the big combo that comes after the mount. And after a mount as well, you get more free damage. Honestly, I got to top of it because we broke so many of his parts. And that should be enough. Okay. Ooh. I wanted to get a helm splitter on it. And there you go. And sometimes when you get strong enough and you hit the parts you need to as often as you need to, you'll get repeated topples like that. Always carve your stuff afterwards. Take your time, have fun, carve your enemies, your monsters, because that's how you get parts and make your stuff. After this, I'll showcase what the decorations we got. The last part is here. So this quest we did have 3 boxes, so it tells you what decoration we're gonna get. These are the materials you use to make the items. Let's collect everything and let's see what we get. Tenderized and protection. And that's the way you would farm. It's most efficient to do investigation. 10 minutes, do another one, play with different people. It kind of makes the time go a lot faster. And that's essentially how you will farm your gear. That's why you get decorations to equip and customize your builds to make yourself even more stronger and optimal for battle. But ladies and gentlemen, thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this. You learned something. I'm gonna put some tips that the people of the Smooth family shared as well. This was a cumulative effort between me, the community, and things I've learned in my hours and hours of playing the game. Hope you enjoyed it. If you learned something, comment below. If I miss a tip, put your tip in the comment section below. My family, stay smooth till next time. Dear gamers, signing out.